should you homeschool? Now, I know I get it. You hear about all the improvements in the academics, the opportunities, family bonding time, different homeschool co-ops, the field trips, the flexibility, all the fun things that they're doing, and your parents are talking about it, your siblings, your friends, all the people who are doing it. But the real question here is, should you homeschool? That's really the question that you've got to ask yourself. And to answer that question, I'm going to give you two other questions that you need to think about. What is the priority that you have for your children and family? What is priority? And then what does your child need at this time? Now, as a former public and private school teacher and someone who actually homeschools all four of their kids, you're gonna be surprised at my answers here. And we're gonna lay it out. We're gonna look at this very without much bias. We gotta put things in perspective here for you, because I know a lot of you guys might be struggling, whether or not it's the right thing to do. Do I have time for this? All the things. And I'm just hoping and praying that this can give you some insight. And if you want more insight and you guys do decide to homeschool, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, especially if you have a child with a little unique learners. I have one of those, and I share a lot of insight there too, as well as my other kids too. So click the subscribe, and if you like this video, like it too. But let's talk about this, all right? If you are a single parent, if you are a working parent that has to provide needs for their family, basic needs for their family, the public school system is a resource that's out there. Some are going to be a little bit more rougher than others, but some are actually going to be very community oriented. And there are actually some states that do offer choice, where you could choose which public school that you would like to send your child, and that's actually a benefit to you. But I will say, to add to that, I know a lot of parents that are single and working moms and dads that homeschool, and there is ways to do it. Now, the public school has a lot of different opportunities, different clubs like writing clubs and drama clubs, and everything's all in that one spot. You don't have to drive across town to go to acting lessons, music lessons, sports teams. Everything's in one location, which is actually very, very convenient, because as a homeschool mom, I could not tell you how much time I spend driving my kids around town to go to their different lessons and different classes. Sometimes it happens. There's no way around it. Another perk is obviously you have more time as a parent. So you have more time to work, you have more time to take care of your home, you have more time to do what you need to do, really. But there is one really big catch. The reason why they homeschool, this is one of the biggest reasons they homeschool, is when it comes down to their faith. And many parents are willing to make that sacrifice, the sacrifice of time, the sacrifice of money, the sacrifice of just so many other things that I don't have time to mention, in order to put their faith first, and trusting in God to help them educate their child. And that is a huge catch, because in the public school systems, yes, there are believers in the public school system. We get it. But in the public school system, you can't talk about faith. Teachers can't teach about faith. Teachers can't initiate prayer. They can't pray before class. They can't pray for their students unless the student initiates it. There's a lot of things that are just kicked out of the school system. And it's a very secular environment. Also, things are handled in a very secular and worldly way. It's a very man-centered environment, the public school system is. And yes, if God wants to grab a hold of you, it doesn't matter where you are, public school, private school, whether you're in a foreign country or not, God's going to grab a hold of you. I get it. But the Word of God is not going to be taught in any way, shape, or form in the public school systems. For a lot of parents and a lot of families, making that sacrifice, the time, the money, in order to put God first is the priority for their family, and they will do whatever needs to be done to take care of that. Now, of course, there are other situations with public schools where their kids have been mistreated, or they aren't able to find a teacher. If your child has unique ability. I know that there's been situations where teachers are in and out, or you don't have a very good special needs teacher, or you notice that there's too much paperwork involved, so your child's needs aren't being met because the teacher's too busy writing paperwork. That's a real thing. And you pull your child out and homeschool because of that, because they're not getting their needs met in the public school. Because it just all comes down to, what are the priorities for your family, and what are the priorities for your child? What does your child need in this season, in this moment. And by the way, just as a side note, it is a season, it is a moment, and it may change. You might have to do public school for a year and then just homeschool, or you may homeschool and do public school for high school. But let me look at private schools, because private schools would probably be the next category. Private schools are expensive. Like, there's no way to get around it. I mean, there are scholarships out there that will help pay for some of that, but they're expensive. But see, what's nice about private school is you do really actually get to choose whether or not your child's going to go there. And academics are important, and for a lot of private schools, faith is important. One thing that I've noticed too with private schools, though, is that there is not a special needs option in some of those schools. Like, they do not have accommodation. So it's also something to look into if you do have a unique learner. It is what it is, and it's a shame. Some parents are really stuck in a situation where they don't have that choice. Public school is not working. Private school doesn't have that accommodation. Homeschooling is the real option here. And it's not easy. And that's why I do consultations. By the way, you can find out more information down in the description box below. I'm not going to sit here and turn this in to an ad right now. I just want you to know I do homeschool consultations. Private school can fit your needs. They can meet your priorities. They can, especially when it comes to community and faith-based and academics as well. A lot of these public schools or private schools are very high academically. But let's jump into now homeschool, which is the option I chose for our family. Homeschool can look very different, and there are so many different options out there. For example, co-ops are when parents teach, they share the teaching responsibility among each other. If you can find a group of families that also homeschool around you, that you have similar interests and similar convictions, worldviews, all the things, it's great to get together and just share responsibilities, even if it's like 3 families. But that's co-ops. There's home education programs and micro schools. Like, I feel like they're kind of homeschool, but they're not. I should probably do a video on micro schools. But the home education programs offer opportunities for your kids to take certain classes there. When they're in that environment, you can obviously choose which home education program your child wants to be a part of and what classes. You don't have to take all the classes. But if you do not decide to go down that option and you want to take on every single subject for your child, which is a lot, it's a lot, because you are now not just a mom, you're full-time mom taking on that responsibility of like all the things. That's why we have so many YouTube channels about homeschooling and curriculum reviews, and why we have summits, online summits for homeschoolers and conferences and all the things. Because it is overwhelming. There's a lot of information out there, but parents that want to do it, those resources are provided for you. You have people to help you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, for the most part, I've heard exceptions to the rules, which is very, very rare. But for the most part, when you leave the public school world, private school world, people are going to help you anymore. You can call the public school system, ask for advice. They're going to shut you down and say, nope, you're on your own. But in the homeschool world, there are people there to help you. I'm one of them. This channel is one of them. There's plenty of other channels too. There's lots of consultations. There's lots of homeschool groups. There's lots of parents. You know, you've got free resources. You've got paid resources. You got resources. There's a lot of people that will come alongside you and help you. There are a lot of people that will mentor you through this process and hold your hand as they're going through it as well. One of the things that does actually take the most time, besides trying to find a good community, a good group to connect with, one of the things that takes a lot of time is curriculum research. I'm just going to be blank and just throw that out there because there's so much curriculum out there. So much curriculum out there. I got lots of curriculum videos, so I'm going to put a link right here to either a playlist or one that I can think of a video that's really good. But there's also a lot of time giving into waiting around, driving your kids places, volunteering. That happens a lot because a lot of these homeschool groups want volunteers to help them out. But it is a sacrifice. And then it comes back to those questions. What is your priority here? There is lots of distractions that will pull you away from that priority. So you also have to keep whatever your priority is and what the needs for your child. You need to keep that like hyper focused in the back of your mind so that you don't get distracted. Another question that I hear a lot is, will my homeschooler have a disadvantage or advantage when it comes to academics? Now you hear a lot about the academic improvements because they have a lot of that one-on-one and, you know, their parents are always there to kind of support them. But see, because there are more homeschoolers, because this whole community has grown so much and we have different styles, we have different opportunities. I'm gonna say it really does depend on you. I've seen everything from kids not doing too well to kids doing great. I've seen different level of academics. I've seen parent involvement to the max and then parent involvement to the zero, where they depend solely upon the computer to teach their child, virtual school to teach their child, something along those lines. And sometimes that is what meets the needs of your child in that moment. But sometimes it's not always the best need. So that's another thing to always consider when you're doing homeschool. And that's why I can also, I'm not trying to talk you out of homeschooling, I promise. I'm just trying to make it clear to you that it is a lot of work and it is a lot of getting to know your child, getting to know, it's parent involvement. That's exactly what it is. It's forcing you to be involved in your child's life instead of just shoving them off or sending them off to a place where other people take care of it. The point is that it depends on you. If you find that academics are a priority, you will make it a priority in your child's life, and you will be one of those families where your child excels tremendously. The word homeschooling, the idea of homeschooling, it's not like a magic word. It's not like, oh, I'm homeschooling, all of a sudden, like, poof, your child's gonna be smarter than everybody else with no effort from you. If academics is your priority, that's something you're gonna focus on. If faith is your priority, if God is the center of the reason why you're homeschooling, then that needs to be put forth. And remember, there are so many distractions out there in the homeschooling world that you do have to stay hyper-focused. Once again, what is the question? Should you be homeschooling? Or are you totally doing fine with the public school or the private school? Don't put too much stress on you. If homeschooling is going to stress you out, don't be shamed to put your kid back into private or public school. If you're in public school and it's just not working out, your kid is not doing great, you want to take the time and you want to make the sacrifice to make sure that your child is getting the education they need, that they're getting it from the worldview that you prefer, then homeschooling's right for you. But you have to understand, is it what's going to meet the needs of your family? So I hope this really helped out. I hope this really helped put things in a little bit of a perspective for you. Also, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. The algorithm loves it. They're gonna send this video out to more people. The more thumbs up I get, which will help more parents make an informed decision about their child's education. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.